You know, for every single business owner out there, there's this one day you're always dreaming about. It's the day you finally sell your company. It's supposed to be the payoff for all those years of hard work, the crazy risks, the sleepless nights. You picture it, right? A smooth handover, a fantastic price, and the freedom to finally kick back and enjoy it all. But what if that dream is built on a foundation that's a lot shakier than you realize?
Okay, let's just get right to it. The number one question in any sale is, what's it actually worth? And this, right here, is where so many owners get a really brutal wake-up call. There's this huge, often shocking gap between what an owner thinks their business is worth and what a serious buyer is willing to put on the table. We call this the valuation gap.
So, what on earth causes this painful gap? Is it a bad market? The economy? Well, sure, those things play a part. But the sources we've been digging into all point to one single, often overlooked factor that is silently eating away at your company's value. It's this hidden trap that, honestly, many owners don't even know they've set for themselves.
And that brings us right to the heart of the matter, the owner dependence trap. You've got to see this for what it is. It's the unseen enemy of your business's valuation. This isn't about how much profit you're making today. It's all about how fragile that profit really is. So what exactly do we mean by owner dependence? Well, the sources we've looked at define it as a situation where the business just can't run without the owner. I mean, think about it like this. If you are the sun and every single process, every client, every decision revolves around you, a buyer doesn't see a sustainable business. No way. They see a super high-risk investment that could totally fall apart the second you're not there.
All right, here's a really powerful way to see if this is happening in your company. It's something we pulled directly from our research called the 3-month vacation test. Ask yourself, and be honest, if you just left for 3 months, I'm talking no calls, no emails, completely off the grid, what would happen? Would the place keep running? Would those growth plans keep moving? Would your team still be motivated? The answer to that question tells you pretty much everything you need to know.
And here on this slide, you can see some of the most common red flags. See the pattern here? It really all boils down to a few key things. Are you the main hub for every important relationship, whether it's clients or suppliers? Are you the bottleneck for every big decision, or even the small routine ones? And maybe most importantly, is the company's secret sauce just locked up in your brain instead of in a manual somewhere? If you're nodding along to this, you're not just the owner, you're a critical and really risky piece of the machinery.
Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem. Now let's see how this actually looks from the other side of the table. Because for a buyer, it's simple. Dependence equals risk, and risk absolutely crushes value. So let's talk about who these buyers are.
Buyers usually fall into one of two camps. First, you've got your strategic buyers. Think of a competitor or maybe a bigger company in your industry. They're buying your business to fold it into theirs and grow. Then you have financial buyers, like private equity firms. They're buying your cash flow, and their goal is to grow the business and then sell it again for a profit. They have different motivations for sure, but they share one massive fear.
And this is the whole thing, right here. A strategic buyer can't get those synergies they're after if all the key relationships and all the know-how walk out the door with you. And a financial buyer, there's no way they're getting a return on their investment if the revenue engine just dies when you leave. For both of them, an owner-dependent business isn't a turnkey asset. It's a huge, high-stakes renovation project, and you better believe the price is going to reflect that. Now, to deal with this kind of risk, buyers will often try to use things like earnouts, where a big chunk of your payment depends on how the company does after you've sold it. But man, these can be a total minefield. As this quote makes painfully clear, an earnout can easily turn what's a disagreement about price today into a full-blown lawsuit tomorrow.
Okay, so the problem is crystal clear. But here's the good news, it is absolutely fixable. The research gives us a really clear framework for systematically cutting down on owner dependence and building a business that's a truly valuable asset. Let's call it the Independence Playbook. The solution really comes down to 3 simple but incredibly powerful pillars. First, empower your people to lead. Second, systematize your operations so they're repeatable. And third, solidify your strategic plan to make the business tough as nails. Let's break each of those down.
First up, empowering your people. You have to make the shift from being the main person who does everything to being the coach. This means you've got to find potential leaders on your team and delegate real authority to them, not just tasks. We're talking about letting your sales manager actually set the pricing strategy, or letting your operations lead make the final call on a new supplier. A buyer wants to see a strong management team that can run the show completely without you.
Next up, your processes. Look, if it's all in your head, it doesn't count. The goal here is to create a business that runs on systems, not on your personal heroics.
That means documenting everything, from how you bring on a new client to how you close the books at the end of the month. Use technology, like a CRM, so that customer relationships belong to the company, not to you. This is what makes a business consistent, scalable, and a whole lot less risky.
And finally, your strategic plan. This is about de-risking the business from a bird's eye view. Are you totally dependent on one giant customer? It's time to diversify. Is your revenue just a wild roller coaster every month? It's time to build predictable, recurring revenue, like subscriptions or service contracts. A business with a diverse client base, steady income, and a clear growth plan is just a much more valuable and stable asset. It's that simple.
So you can see how this all comes together. When you actually follow this playbook, you're not just getting ready for a sale. You're fundamentally changing your business for the better and unlocking its true potential value.
And hey, this isn't just a nice idea. The data absolutely backs it up. A study from Bain & Company found that companies with excellent, systematized customer experiences, the kind that don't depend on one single person, they grow their revenue 4 to 8% above their market average. Building independence isn't just a defensive move to protect your value. It's an offensive strategy to actually create more of it.
And this really is the ultimate point. All the work you do to make your business sellable also just makes it a better business, period. A company that doesn't depend on you is a company that can grow beyond what you can personally handle. It's a company that can survive a crisis. And let's be honest, it's a company that finally lets you take that 3-month vacation for real.
So we'll leave you with this. Take a hard look at your company and ask yourself a really simple but profound question. Have you built a business, or have you just built a really demanding job for yourself? The answer to that question will determine a lot more than just your sale price. It will determine your freedom.